Welcome to another episode of Hustle Basketball Talk. I'm joined today by senior Brown guard Paxson Wojcik. Paxson, thank you so much for joining the show.
My guy Drew, thanks for having me on. I'm excited.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, growing up, what age did you fall in love with basketball, and when did you really start playing competitively?
Yeah, I would say I fell in love with basketball probably around the age of 5. Um, I'm lucky enough to have a family who has a kind of a big background in basketball, so I was introduced to the game at an early age. But all I can remember is being really young and running around, playing on like the mini hoop. But yeah, it's from a really early age where I was really serious about it and
Yeah.
knew it was a passion of mine.
That's good, man. And then growing up in a bunch of different places, right? Your dad's a Division I coach. What was that like moving around at a young age and kind of just meeting a lot of people through the sport?
Yeah, for sure. I really, looking back on it, it was, one of the things I'm most thankful for, kind of with my experiences, is just being able to, see a bunch of different places, a bunch of different campuses around the country. It was really cool growing up. It was tough, at a young age, like changing schools and moving around and making new friends. But I think it definitely, forced me to kind of build some social skills. And, I got better at, continuing relationships from places I moved or meeting new friends at new stops. But no, I really definitely wouldn't change it for the world. Growing up around a team and in a locker room setting, I think is something that was really important to me and also kind of helped me grow my love for the game. So
That's awesome, man. And then as you grew that love of the game and transitioned into really playing it competitively, you played your high school career at La Lu in Indiana, one of the best programs historically in high school basketball. So, what was your experience like playing there and being a two-time captain of that team?
yeah, it was great. So I transferred to Lumiere for my sophomore season, and going in, I kind of knew I was gonna have to, fight and scrap my way to even make like the second team at a place like that. I really had no expectations. Uh, my freshman year, I was on the JV team at my high school. It wasn't like I was on varsity, or even really, got a chance at varsity. I was on the JV team the whole year. So going in, I knew I was, had some work to do, had some work cut out for me. But it was a really, really cool experience that year. We were loaded. The seniors on that La Lumiere team were, Jaron Jackson, Jordan Poole,
Yeah.
Brian Tuggs Bowen, and then Tiger Campbell was our starting point guard, and we were just loaded.
Yeah.
So it's good because, I got my ass kicked every day in practice, but it forced me to get a lot better, having to go up against, Jordan Poole, a guy at my position, and, playing him in King of the Court after practices or just, shooting with him during the day. And then with those guys as my teammates, sort of mentors, it really helped me get better. I was forced to get better. When you go to a place like that, you're kind of thrown into the fire, if you will. But I really saw a huge improvement in my game. And then just from a confidence standpoint too, definitely the best decision I've probably ever made. Um, and I'm really glad I did it. And I think it's definitely a place I look back at, is really good for my development.
What was the recruiting process like for you now, coming out of La Lu and choosing colleges, and what led you to ultimately go to Loyola Chicago in the Missouri Valley?
Really only started getting recruited, I think it was probably the fall of my sophomore year.
Mhm.
So I go from the JV team, like not even on any college coaches' radars, and then now I'm at this powerhouse program as a sophomore. I was a bench player, but a bench player on that team is still pretty solid. So when coaches were coming through the fall, we had open runs, and I was holding my own. I was doing pretty well. So I got on some schools' radars early, and I think I got my first offer. It was like October my sophomore year from Columbia, which is actually a rival in the Ivy League. But and then from there, the spring with the Illinois Wolves out of Chicago was big, and it kind of grew from there. And it was nice because when you're playing at a program like that and on a shoe circuit, AAU team, had a lot of exposure. Got some good looks from schools all across the country, and then the thing with Loyola was just the vision that Coach Moser had for the program and the direction that I was headed. I really believed in, and obviously, they've taken that thing to the next level compared with Chicago and the great beautiful campus and a wonderful city like Chicago. It was really hard to turn down the opportunity that was extended to me from Loyola um, out of high school. So I thought it was a great decision.
Yeah, definitely. And they had that Final Four run before you go there.
Exactly.
How was your 2 years playing there, and what did you learn at your first taste of Division I basketball?
Yeah, it was wonderful. I love, that program, that city, that campus for sure. I still have, great friends and brothers from those teams that, I talk to this day, which is really cool for me, just being able to build those lifelong relationships. Um, but it was great. My freshman year, coming in, didn't really know what to expect. Ended up, playing and I think every game but one, started one game. I was in the rotation, so I was proud of myself there. Did pretty well. And then, the whole COVID thing happened in spring. Sophomore year, didn't have as good a year. Didn't play as well. And then with that COVID year, some guys were granted a year back. And so the whole decision to transfer just came off I knew there was, X amount of guys ahead of me that were seniors, veteran guys. And they decided to come back and use their COVID year. And I just kind of I felt like I was ready to take that next jump, and really excited about kind of seeing what options were out there for me. So that's why I made that decision.
And through that transfer process now, where you landed at Brown, what was that whole process like? And then how was your experience this past year, starting every game at Brown and now being a key player?
Yeah. So going in, the process, it's a little scary, you kind of see all the, I would say like almost negativity surrounding like the transfer portal and kind of how chaotic it can be in college athletics. So I was a little nervous, when I finally entered my name in the portal, but I knew that I felt like I was ready for something bigger. And so I just took that jump and it's crazy because you enter the portal and coaches are immediately allowed to contact you. I didn't want to, delay and lengthen out my recruiting process as a transfer. I kind of had in mind that I wanted to be like on the East Coast at like a high academic school. Those are kind of my two things. Because my younger brother was committed to Harvard, so I kind of wanted to be out here near him.
Yeah.
Um, and then my parents and I have also just kind of felt the importance of academics. So that was another big factor in my decision.
Yeah.
And the staff here at Brown did a good job. They recruited me really hard. And I was in the portal for like, almost less than 24 hours. I got on the phone with them immediately. And I had actually visited Brown in high school on an unofficial. So I knew what the campus was like, knew the staff a little bit. But so yeah, it was a quick deal. I was fired up about it. They had an opportunity for me, and then I had to do the whole application process and get admitted to school first. But got in, and that all worked out. And so I was excited about making the jump here.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's great that you're able to get that, that Ivy League education. That's for free too, right? Like playing athletics really could take you places. And
No
then
doubt.
what's your experience been like, being that key player this past season and starting every game and having a larger role?
Yeah, it's been great. I've really enjoyed it. I felt like I said earlier, I felt like I was ready for it. So I was really excited, when I got to campus, ready to put the work in and come game time, really, try to, show and demonstrate, the player that I think I am and, the skill sets that I have.
Yeah.
So it was great because, I had the opportunity and combined with the work that I put in, is kind of just the right formula. And we had a good year as a team. Played a tough schedule, but we're a little disappointed with how we finished in the Ivy League play. Um, Probably should have finished a little higher, and we felt that as a team, and I felt that individually too. So, flash forward to this year. I'm looking forward to, headed into my senior season, with a even a bigger leadership role than last year because we graduated some seniors. Um, and then looking forward to play, a big role in terms of production too on court.
What do you feel are your biggest strengths now going into this season at Brown?
Yeah, I would say probably, my top strength is just shooting.
Yeah.
Um, I consider myself, a really good shooter, and just being able to kind of find ways to put the ball in the basket and, make different shots. And one of the things I really worked on over the summer was just try to get stronger, work on my body, to help me defensively, and also just feel better, about being stronger, quicker, faster, that sort of thing.
Never
Um,
heard.
yeah, so I would say the shooting, and then probably just, you know, toughness, basketball IQ, effort. I mean, it sounds crazy, but if you can always try to be the hardest playing, smartest guy on the floor, and you can shoot the basketball, you can play for, a long time.
And then going back now from when you fell in love with the game and started playing at like 5 to now, what's your favorite basketball memory?
My favorite basketball memory, man, I would say, um, I think it would have to be beating. Um, no, actually, yeah, no, it would. I would say it's beating Illinois, with Loyola.
Oh yeah,
Obviously, I didn't play in the game or anything, but just being in March Madness is something special. Every kid, grows up dreaming of March Madness. Um, so that game, the importance to Chicago and the state of Illinois, was just a huge game. So that second round matchup to go to the Sweet 16, beating Illinois, where the Pacers play in Indianapolis, in the NCAA bubble was really cool. And definitely something I'll never forget, just because of how bizarre it was too with the NCAA bubble and COVID. And it was cool because my dad, who we previously mentioned, who coaches at Michigan State, was also in the bubble. They ended up losing in the first four matchup to UCLA, who went all the way.
right.
But it was cool because we were in this, the same hotel, same NCAA bubble. Like,
That's
one
really
really
cool.
sure what was going on, but we were there following all the precautions and stuff, trying not to get COVID. But at the end of the day, we were hooping and doing what we love. So it was really fun.
That's awesome, man. I'll never forget. And such a unique year, as you touched upon being in that bubble. So
Hmm.
it's really
No
cool
doubt.
to have that. And then transitioning now to off the court, who are you when you're not practicing and playing in games?
Yeah. Off the court, I like to. I love sports, but that doesn't always necessarily equate to me watching basketball.
Yeah,
I'm not a huge NBA guy until it comes, time to the playoffs. I'd rather watch college basketball, but I love watching all sports. So, football, soccer, baseball, tennis, any major sporting events for the most part, I'm tapped in. I'm watching those. Um, I like spending time with my friends and family. I like being outdoors. I picked up a little bit of golf and tennis this summer.
okay.
Um, Game's atrocious in both sports, but I'm working on it. And then other than that, just kick back, chilling, listen to music, playing games,
Yeah,
cards, stuff like that.
that's awesome, man. And yeah, that golf game, I'm sure it'll probably get stronger, right? As years.
Yeah, we'll get around it at some point, but it's definitely a work in progress.
That's awesome, man. And then I'd like to end the show with what's your why? What's your big motivation at the end of the day to be the best person you could be?
For sure. I would say, my why would be kind of just the younger version of myself. I think that's a big one for me, is just, like we were talking earlier, I fell in love with the game with the game at such an early age. I always had this vision and dreams, as kids, we all have these dreams. Um, so for me, when, I'm tired, don't want to do like an extra rep, or don't want to get an early morning workout, or, I'm just feeling off, I think I just think back to, I'm really living out my dream. And, if you told that 10, 11, 12-year-old kid, where he'd be 10 years down the road, just to see that smile on his face and how excited he would be. So I just try not to take any opportunities for granted, and just live every day to the fullest for sure.
Well, Paxson, it's been great having you on, man. I appreciate your time, and definitely look forward to seeing you kill it again this year in the Ivy League.
Sounds good, my guy. I appreciate you.